In just a few minutes, I'm going to show you how this rate buy down strategy could 2 or 3x your cash flow overnight. Here's how.
Sometimes in winter, I gaze into the streets and walk through snow and city sleep behind you. Sometimes in winter.
If you're a buy and hold real estate investor right now, you know that interest rates have been increasing. The Fed has been bumping up rates. They're trying to curb inflation. So the question that we all have is, what can we do? Are there any strategies out there that can bring interest rates back down to the point where I can produce more cash flow? And the answer that I have is yes. It comes in the form of this rate buy down strategy that I'm going to break down for you. We're going to talk about the 3 rate buy down options that are the main options and which one you should choose and why. First, we have the 3-2-1 rate buy down strategy. And if we start off with a hypothetical 7% interest rate, which is approximately the current interest rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage towards the end of 2022, you can use this 3-2-1 rate buy down strategy to bring a 7% interest rate down to a 4% rate in year 1 of that loan just by selecting it. And how the 3-2-1 works is it works in a laddered strategy. In year 1, we can take that 7% down to 4%. In year 2, we would go from a 3% reduction to a 2% reduction. So we go from 7 to 5%. And in year 3, we would go from 7 to 6%. In year 4, we would go back to the full 7% rate. With the Fed adjusting rates on a month-to-month basis, we're seeing rates go up and down. In fact, in the last few weeks of me making this video, rates have actually fallen about 10%. If you're a buy and hold investor, you're looking at interest rates and you're trying to predict the future. The projection of the future is that as we get into 2024, 2025, we're projecting rates to actually come back down. So our big concern when it comes to cash flow is actually in the short term. If we can implement some of these rate buy down options in the short term over the next 2 to 3 years, we can increase our cash flow today and then refinance tomorrow into better rates. So deals that would no longer cash flow at a 7% rate, you can do one of these rate buy down options and bring that down to 4% or 5%. You can now cash flow on that asset again, and it puts you back in the game. Really fast, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel and leave a comment in the comment section that says I subscribed. For everyone who leaves that comment, I'm going to send you instant access to my free real estate training that shows you how to acquire properties for pennies on the dollar all across the country. You don't want to miss out on that free offer. Call the 3-2-1 strategy the middle option because it's the middle in terms of expense. There is a cost to implement a rate buy down. Typically, the mortgage company or the lender is going to collateralize some of that interest that they would have collected on the regular interest rate and charge it to you up front. But if you stick around to the end of this video, I'm going to give you a strategy to completely eliminate that cost from your balance sheet. Next up, we have the 2-1 buy down. This is the cheapest option. It's very similar to the 3-2-1, only we're doing this for 2 years instead of 3 years. And in year 1, we're going from 7% down to 5%. In year 2, we're going from 7 down to 6%. In year 3, we're going back to the full 7%. So the same concept, but just a shorter time frame. And because it's a shorter time frame, it's a little less expensive. So if you were going to pay for this out of pocket, you might want to go with the cheapest option, especially if you felt like rates are definitely going to come back down in 2025 or late 2024. I'm going to time this thing for 2 years and then do some type of a refinance. And if I can't, maybe I'll sell the property to another investor and just walk away from the deal. Whenever you're making investment decisions, you're always going to get what you pay for. So if you want to go with the cheapest option, you are taking on more risk in terms of that time frame where you have this cushion. It's going to be a lot smaller. So a lot of people will go for this 3-2-1 option, but don't rule out the 2-1 option, especially if you see rates starting to about face and go downward in the very near future. This may be the best option and the cheapest. 3, we have the permanent rate buy down option. Typically with any lender, you can buy down your rate by a full percentage point. It's going to cost you about 1% of the loan amount per 0.25% of a reduction. What that means is if you have a $100,000 mortgage and you want to buy down your interest rate from 7 to 6%, it's going to cost you $4,000. The good thing about this option is it's permanent. It's not like the 3-2-1 or the 2-1 option where the rate is gradually adjusting and laddering itself back up. Once you buy it down on a permanent buy down, it's just locked in at the 6% now. So this can be a good option if you're more risk averse and you just can't stomach these different fluctuations that are happening here. With that being said, it is the most expensive option out of these because it's permanent. So they're collateralizing the cost over the entire duration of like a 30-year fix and charging it up front. But remember, I do have a way to get rid of that cost. Just stick with me. A few off-the-wall strategies that we have in line item number 4 are a tax reassessment. So if you want to reduce your overall carrying cost, what you can do is fight to get your taxes reassessed. On a lot of these properties, the taxes are artificially inflated by the assessment office. And if you file an appeal, it's just a one-page form, you can get your taxes reduced by as much as 50%, in some cases more. One of my investor buddies would do this on every property he purchased because he was buying properties in an area that had high property taxes. So every time he bought a property, he would file a tax reassessment form, and they were reducing his taxes by 50% or more on his property taxes, which meant more cash flow going into his pocket every month. The overall process that you have to go through with this form is to pull comps from similar properties that are in your neighborhood surrounding your property that have lower taxes. If you can find properties that look like yours or similar square footage and they have lower property taxes, you can typically win one of these tax reassessment cases and get your taxes reduced to the other properties that you provided comps for. Very simple process, doesn't cost a ton of money to file. It might be like a $50 filing fee. Definitely will boost your cash flow overnight. And last but not least, improve your credit score. There are new credit scores that are out there that are being used by these different lenders, the FICO 10+. As we get deeper into a recession, credit becomes king, and it's getting harder to qualify for mortgages. The credit belt just gets tightened a little bit. So you have to focus on improving your credit. Anything at a 750 or above, really maybe even a 740. Once you get in that range and you're better than the average, you're typically qualifying for the best rates that are out there. You don't need an 800 credit score or a perfect. Some people are like, I got an 850. You don't need that. Typically, once you get above a 740, 750, everybody above that mark is getting the best rate. If you don't know how to improve your credit score, make sure you tap into my channel. We have some credit hacker crash courses for you, some free trainings for you guys that'll get you to the next level. Just click the link in the description and the free training will break all of that down for you. How do we push this cost away? How do we get this cost for these rate buy downs off of our balance sheet and put it somewhere else? Do this through seller negotiation. Right now, it's a buyer's market everywhere. And when it's a buyer's market, we can make the seller give us concessions. They can give us seller's assist. They can give us closing cost credits. And they can also credit us for the cost of these rate buy down options. So my recommendation for you is when you're negotiating pricing with these sellers, also negotiate in a rate buy down credit so that the seller can credit you for the cost of the rate buy down. That means it's not coming out of your pocket. You're not pulling out your hard-earned cash to pay for these rate buy downs. But when you get this rate buy down, it's increasing your cash flow exponentially. That's the way that you can push this cost off of your balance sheet onto the seller and still get all of the value. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope it helped. I'm Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor. If you want to tap into my free real estate trainings that'll show you how to acquire properties for pennies on a dollar, click the link in the description. Stay tapped in, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the other side.
Yeah.
You're
Back,
doing a job.
back to the flow. I take it back, yeah. Anybody born in the 80s, you know. Yeah. School. Out with the new, in with the old. High top bass, used to rock gold. Niggas used to chill before they started throwing bows. Used to bump poison by Belle Biv DeVoe. Used to jump around with the House of Pain. Radio DJs bumping Candy Rain. Met the men and Mary J singing all.